Welcome to Spark Stories, where entrepreneurs and experts share their brand story and how they found their spark, the spark that started it all.
Welcome to Spark Stories Live Business Radio, brought to you by the Atlanta Business RadioX Network. Every week, entrepreneurs and experts share the stories behind the brand, who they are, what they do, and why their brands matter. I'm your host, Clarissa J. Sparks. In our Own It series, we dive into the everyday operations of inspiring small business owners in our community. You can listen live on Saturdays at 10 a.m. or the rebroadcast at www.businessradiox.com. Today, we're going to talk about the core of your business and why it's important to have a clear vision, mission, and values. Please allow me to introduce one of our amazing community leaders who owns it, Cody Parks. He's a graduate of Georgia State University with a degree in exercise science. Cody continued progressing his knowledge by surrounding himself with the world's top trainers. With over 10,000 hours of coaching and hands-on experience, guiding everyday people in their fitness journeys. Cody has a wide variety of knowledge in all aspects of exercise and nutrition. Cody, you've taken the step to launch your company and you're braving the world of entrepreneurship. I have 3 questions for you. Please tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and why your brand matters.
Well, my name's Cody Parks. I own a company called Farmwell Personal Training, and we personal train individuals, adults over the age of 40 years old here in the Atlanta area. So Dunwoody, Sandy Springs, Roswell, East Cobb, even the deep Atlanta area. That's who we serve. We've been voted number 1 in personal training 2 years in a row. And it really matters because we truly are making a huge impact with the adults in this community that are rock stars in their space of influence. And we believe by you being healthier, you looking and feeling your best, you are going to be able to do what you love to do at the highest capacity.
That's really good. So we are definitely benefiting from your services here in the community. There are so many fitness gyms out here. What sets Farmwell apart?
Really that we're personal trainers. So in the market right now, it's 2022. What is offered to the marketplace majority of the time is a cardio-based style of training when you go to the facility. And what I mean by cardio is HIIT training, cardio. Think of anything that's on a time clock. We're going 1 minute as fast and as hard as you can go, and you're going to take off a minute. We offer personal training, so we're individualizing the training session to you and what your capabilities are. We're meeting you with where you're at. We're using weights. So we put our flag in the sand. We do more strength and conditioning, and you are tapping into so much more of the human body by doing a good high-level strength conditioning session for 60 minutes compared to just doing a cardio session. Okay. So think of brands that are running on treadmills, they're hopping on rowers, they're in a class-based format with 30 to 40 people in them, all doing the same thing and watching a time clock. Think of that as one product, and then think of our product as a personal training service with adults, and there's 2 to 6 people in the building at one time with a coach, and we are progressing and regressing, making easier, making harder, each exercise around your physical capability level. So if you have a tight hip or a tight back or a bad knee, bad ankle, we can change the exercise around you, still hit the muscle groups we're wanting to hit. You still have a high quality workout, if you will, okay, without getting hurt and in pain. And in today's society, we're sitting so much more, especially with the age bracket that we work with, adults, okay, professional adults. These are areas of concern for them, and we offer them a product that will be a solution so they can exercise without getting hurt. They can have the accountability they need, the individual attention they need. It's professional, it's fun, and you really get a personal trainer when you go to us, not a class per se. That may be, I don't know, think of a 20, 30-year-old or someone single that just wants to kind of go to a life at a party and you're just hanging out and you're meeting people and, it's totally fun and I'm not knocking it. In fact, I recommend sometimes if you're not going to go play tennis, golf, if you're not going to go for a run and you're not going to do cardio on your own, you need to go to one of these places, once or twice a week and get your cardio on, because you still need to work it.
Sure.
We just offer something that will, provide the body with so many other deeper levels of fitness, your mobility, your flexibility, your strength, your muscle tone, your bone density. And then to further that, in a personal training atmosphere, it's very personal. So we really get to the deeper issues like your eating habits.
That's something we all need help with, right?
Absolutely. You look around us. We're in an environment that has set us up for failure.
Right.
And so we can coach you through those eating habits. Okay. And we can coach you mentally, physically, so that you have success. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. So that's what really makes us different. That's
good. You listed a lot of different characteristics of the people, the type of persona or the type of person that is coming into your gym. If you had to make a comparison to the characteristics of an entrepreneur, how would you tie that together?
Of an entrepreneur in terms of our facility?
No, in the terms of like relating it to business owners. Like, what was your passion? What made you want? What was your vision for Farmwell?
Sheesh, that goes back to 18 years old. So I'm 33, about to be 34 now.
Happy birthday.
So it was 15 years ago is where I started. And that's going to be another rabbit hole, but I'll sum it up real quick for the listeners. So I grew up overweight. As a teenager, I was overweight. And then I basically just stopped eating and did a lot of cardio. And I lost a ton of weight. I was very skinny, but I had no muscle. I didn't feel good. That wasn't healthy either.
Right.
And then in college, I became a bodybuilder to where I would spend 3 hours in the gym and only eat the cleanest foods ever. And it's totally not realistic.
Right.
As an adult in this world as well. So here I am, 26 years old, and I'm married. I've got kids. I now own a business. And so I had to learn how to truly find freedom through fitness. And so that is our mission today, is helping people find freedom through fitness. And what started as a passion, over 15 years, the way that we've trained people has always gotten better and better because of research and technology and just where we were as an industry. But as a business, that our mission's always been to help people find freedom through fitness. But even down to, all right, we're going to offer personal training for adults over 40, that was more of a byproduct of where the industry is and where the marketplace was, which would be very entrepreneurship related and have nothing to do with health and fitness and passion.
Right.
And that's why, again, going back to those cardio brands, I'm not knocking them at all, because holy smokes, like there's a lot of people that get healthy through those products, and I want to see the world become a healthier place. And if someone feels comfortable and fit there and they're seeing results there, then that's where they need to go. Right. But as far as our offer in business in the marketplace, that has changed just from years of being in the industry, looking at where the market is, looking what is being offered to the marketplace now in 2022. And that entrepreneurship has just changed, and we have just niched tighter and tighter and tighter and become more refined of the product that we've offered. And the outcome of that has just been a more consistent service and a consistent experience for our customers.
So you've mentioned quite a few words here, kind of loaded, which I like. So even when you started out as an 18-year-old, said you were overweight. So that was a problem, right?
That's a problem.
So that's when
I looked in the mirror and said, I got a problem.
I got a problem.
This is a problem.
That is a key entity for starting a business. You have to have a problem, and then you find a solution.
Yes.
And your solution became being active. And then you said, you know what? I can turn this into a business.
There you go. And
then Farmwell was created through your passion and through a necessity. So again, that's a great encouragement for our listeners as startup businesses and entrepreneurs, just saying, hey, what is the problem that I can actually solve? Coming up with a solution and offering that to your market, and then coming up with the perfect offer. So Farmwell has definitely nailed that.
There you go. Thank you.
Definitely
Thank you.
Nailed that. So your vision based and your mission is how you're carrying it out. And that is you're offering. Tell us a little bit more. How can we work with you as a personal trainer?
So as a personal trainer, first you can go to farmwell.com and we do a complimentary, what we call Discovery Day. And we'll spend 45 to 60 minutes with you. And we're going to discover all about you, your goals, where you are at specifically, You're going to meet the team. You're going to see the facility, and we're going to make sure that we're a good fit. And if anything, we're going to lay out a game plan for you to start getting healthier. We're going to meet you right where you're at and lay out some exercise techniques, some nutrition techniques, and some accountability techniques based on who you are, how much time you have, all these different factors, so that even if you don't stay with us, you have a game plan moving forward.
It's all about action, right?
It's all about action.
All about
and we
action.
say it all the time. Hey, this first month, actually like the first 90 days, your goal is to just show up.
Just show
because
up.
That is a hard goal in itself. Showing up and actually doing a 60-minute workout 2 to 3 times a week consistently for 90 days, I think that majority of the listeners would say, wow, yeah, I haven't done that in years. And there's some people that would, and we would find that pretty quickly, and we would give you a bigger goal.
A bigger goal.
Or, bigger techniques that you need to do in order to go from where you're at now to where you want to go.
Well, goal setting is part of the plan anyway, especially in entrepreneurship. Like you said, constantly setting those benchmarks so that you can see results in your offering. Now, when you first started out, can you share with us some of the challenges that you possibly experienced with starting
Sure.
Farmwell?
So when I started 18 years old, I didn't have any business systems around anything. And so I just had to look at what was available to me at the time. So I was one-on-one personal training out of a big box gym. And I was also meeting people, friends and family, at my apartment gym and training them there as well. And so one of the first things that I experienced was there was no consistent experience for these individuals. Some days it was at the gym, some days it was the apartment gym, and it was only one-on-one. So I was just trading time for dollars. And when you're meeting just one person at a time, it needs to be 2 to 3 times a week consistently, not just one time a week, and that person's just on their own doing their own thing. It can be successful, but that's just a roadblock that I hit as a trainer, as a coach, was just not being able to communicate enough with these people and not have one home base where they were coming to me and I was only one person at the time. So I'd say that was it was just so inconsistent with even the location of where we were meeting. I didn't have a team.
That's part of it too. Location.
Yes.
So where were you in your mindset when you said, I need to transition from one-on-one to actually take the plunge and go into your own facility?
Well, I'll tell more about this. So I'm 18, so I'm in college at the time. Right. I'm in college. I'm literally working at medieval times on the weekend to pay rent, and I'm training people during, in the morning, early morning. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I'm training one person at 5 a.m., one person at 6 a.m. I'd take a break at 7 and work out, one person at 8 a.m., and then I would go to school from 9 o'clock until 4, and then I would go back and train at 6 and 7, go home, study from 8 until 11, wake up and do it all again. And then every weekend I'm at medieval times just trying to make $100 a night to pay my bills. I'm 18.
Now, Cody, you can't mention medieval times without telling us a backstory. How did you end up? What did you do at medieval times?
Good evening, my lords and ladies, and welcome to Medieval Times. My name is Cody. I will be your most loyal and hardworking serf this eve. Hey, if you would like sweet tea, as sweet as me, please turn your mug handles to the right. If you would like Coke, turn them to the left. Get ready for a tournament. Something along the lines of that.
Oh, my goodness. So that's another characteristic of entrepreneurs. They're multi-talented.
Oh, man.
So thanks for sharing that.
Well, I hope that woke up your listeners maybe.
That woke them up.
That just sets the stage as well as where I was. So in an entrepreneur's journey, if you will, you have to take inventory of what resources you have around you and where you are at individually. Right. Don't stick your head in the sand and think that you're going to compete at an Amazon level and you're one person. Right. So I was one person. I was really trying to get my college degree. That was a huge time constraint. So I'm not saying don't ever go and train the way I did it. I feel like everybody should start there. I'm just saying that I couldn't make it a career. I couldn't make it a consistent business, and I couldn't make it a brand that was going to grow in the community and be known for something just by myself doing it in my apartment gym or in a big box gym. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you took the plunge. You took the leap.
Yeah, after that, so I graduate college, and I still knew that I wanted to be in the personal training industry. I honestly had no idea what vehicle that needed to look like. If that vehicle was going to still be one person just giving this services to 25 people max. Because when you're one person, you can't have a book of business that's a ton of people. You have 20 to 25 people that you're working with on any given point of time because you're just one person, you know? So long story short, I was seeking out some internships, and I did an internship at a training facility that I felt like was doing a super awesome job with personal training. And it was a whole team. It wasn't just one person. You had an owner, you had a director of training, you had 3 or 4 coaches, you had a front desk admin that welcomed everyone with a smile, you had a facility that was built out for personal training, and they're working with hundreds of personal training clients instead of just like my 20. So literally I went and found who was doing it the best,
right,
and repeated it. And that you can say like, hey, I hate that term, like, oh, I'm self-made. I'm like, dude, nobody's self-made.
No one's self-made. It takes partnership. It takes collaboration. You got to go learn
from people way better than you.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I found who was doing it the best, and I spent like 10 weeks there, something like that, hundreds of hours there, and just shadowed. And so after that, that's when I decided to really take a plunge. And I don't want to draw the story out too long, but I took a job as a general manager in a facility like that facility.
Sure.
And at the time, it was what we would call a failing business from a profit and loss standpoint, from a leadership, a vision, core value standpoint. It had been in business a long time, but the industry had changed. So Farmwell has been in business since 1999. So 1999, personal training, the equipment available, the modalities, the science, it is very different than the science and the modalities that we use today. It's still a very new industry, if you will. It may not seem new to people today in 2022, like, oh yeah, it's been around forever, but it's really not. I mean, it started in it's just not. So back then, to give you kind of a picture, you're talking about going to a facility with nothing but machines, and everybody's doing one-on-one training, and everybody's wanting to like just be these big muscle bodybuilders or bikini models kind of thing. Whereas now in 2022, we're sitting for our jobs so much that, holy smokes, we just want to feel good. And so those modalities of mobility, flexibility, how the body moves, we just as professionals in the industry have gotten a lot smarter. The science has really come a long ways. The technology, the modalities, the equipments, the service has come a long ways. So anyways, I took a failing business as general manager, turned it around, and I ended up buying the business 100%. So that's my story, how I got into Farmwell.
Okay.
And so
you've taken several big leaps in your entrepreneurial journey to get to where you are now. So I like to often tell people to trust the process and be able to recognize an opportunity. So as a general manager, you saw an opportunity and you took advantage of it. And I'm sure maybe you questioned your decision or had some type of doubt. So how did you, or maybe you didn't, maybe we can just share that experience. And if you did experience those things, what words of encouragement would you give to someone who's starting out and they're facing challenges in starting?
So again, painting the picture for your listeners, I was 26 years old at the time when I took the management position. So I just had graduated college, did that internship where I saw from the best what it should look like. So I knew what, not good looked like, but I also knew exactly what to do. I always knew that I wanted to be an owner. I had no idea that I wanted to own Farmwell.
Okay.
So I just saw the opportunity to basically implement everything I had learned. And I had the opportunity to lead this and basically wanted to see if it worked. So my plan was to prove that this system, prove that my leadership business plan, if you will, business model would work, and then go get investors to start with me in my hometown was my plan. So what I would say to the listeners that are starting out is take it one day at a time and do the absolute best with where you are right now. That's it. Right now. have visions of the future, but don't be afraid to take the opportunity that's in front of you right now. You and I both want people of this town to go on and build these businesses like Amazon, Elon Musk, all these huge stories. Holy cow. Like, these are people that have 10, 20, 30 years of experience in the industry. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you're sitting around waiting for that to happen and just want to become social media famous, it's not going to work like that. You got to get out there and take every little bitty opportunity and crush it. You as an individual need to learn what it feels like to win. And a win is going to look different in every single season of your life.
Yes.
A win in your business is going to look different in every single season of your business's life.
Right. And I think sometimes you mentioned something about the social media and how that plays a big part in how entrepreneurs rate their success and how they look at their wins. What has been your experience with social media and possibly comparison?
Sure. I think you just need to know your product. Mm-hmm. So if your product is being sold a lot online, then yes, you need to determine your success by your social media followers, because that's where you're getting your attention, and then that's where they'll learn about your product. They're buying it online. I get it. My product is it's a brick and mortar business. So mine is more personal relationships. So that's how I had to justify with myself, like, it's okay. I'd rather have 1,500 followers. By the way, I don't even have 1,500 followers. I just don't. Because my business model is built to have 150 clients.
Right.
Paying a certain rate. In this brick and mortar, you got revenues, you got expenses, and that number needs to be a certain revenue. It's just different compared to someone that has an online business. You do need to have all those followers. So I'd say just know who your target market is.
That's very important, because the target market determines sales. And even just because you have the 1,500, the 15,000, 500,000 followers, don't mean that they're your customers.
Yeah, man. If you're holy smokes, if you're a CPA, you're an engineer, you offer a service-based business, you're local, you're really working with individuals that you know are only traveling 10 minutes away from you to use your service. Right. Social media, while it is great, yes, you must need it. You do need it, but you don't have to have 50,000 followers. Compared to if you have an online program only, and you're selling it for a very low cost, and you need thousands and thousands and thousands of people to buy it for you to make money, then yes, you need to have this huge social media following, because the more followers you have, the more people are going to buy your product. And for your business to be successful, you need to have 10,000 sales a month. Right. It just depends on what that dollar is. And speaking of money, I want to go back to one thing that's on my heart when you asked, what would you tell the younger people or people just starting out, is finances. I see that so much. You have to be willing to not make anything for some time. Right. Why do you think I was working at Medieval Times? You think I wanted to work at Medieval Times?
You think I wanted to wear,
right? I was wearing like a straight up, I'm kind of like a manly man. I'm a Southern boy. I like to do all these Southern hobbies. And like, I'm in a tunic, like a short skirt, chest hair coming out. Like, my friends would come and just laugh at me and like make fun of me. Yeah. You think I wanted? No. I needed money to pay my rent. And it was providing me money so I could live my life and pay the bills while I was still working on my craft and figuring out what I was going to do in the personal training industry. So it's okay if you're a food server right now. It's okay if you're driving Uber and you're still... But you need to be diving deep into these internships and mentorships and learning and still mastering your craft. And at some point, you will have to take the leap.
Yep, you have to take that leap.
I just see more and more people wanting that. I'm going to graduate and I'm going to make $100,000 a year and I'm going to work 8 to 5. And like, that's just not how it works with entrepreneurs. You have to be able to wake up, work your absolute butt off, and at the end of the month, you made zero. That happened to me all the time.
All the time.
That happened to me all the time for years.
Yeah. And people don't understand that. I mean, you work countless hours and you make sometimes absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's how it works. And mind you, so now like 10 years later, like banks will determine your success financially by how much revenue you do per square foot. So we have we're in the top 10% of training gyms revenues per square foot. So I'm not sitting here just saying this from the guy full of passion and he has a broken system that doesn't make any profit. We have a very successful business model, but I'm here to tell you it was 10 years of constantly beating on our craft. It wasn't that long, more like 5 years to constantly beat on our craft and work our absolute tails off for nothing. And you just have to believe in the process and believe in what you're doing. And it really does help if you're super passionate about it and you believe in your product.
Yeah, I think passion definitely drives. And something that's really important is that drives it as well are their core values.
Yes.
And how they have to align with your business model. And I think that helps with success. That helps create more wins. What are some of your values?
So our mission is helping people find freedom through fitness. That's our mission. Our core values, we have 6 of them.
Okay.
And, I wrote these 5-6 years ago, and I'm still open to changing them. And I'll list them, and I'll tell you real life how we're doing these right now.
Let's hear it.
So our core values, number 1 is community.
Okay.
We rely on our community so much. So we have a book of business of 150 of these rock star adults in our community. We're just trainers. We're coaches. We are nothing without our community being with us. So we believe in our community and absolutely making this a fun environment. We do community socials once a month. We go to the park and do a park workout. We go have Super Bowl parties. We have parties at our facility because we want everyone to have community.
Let's talk about the word community, because I think people sometimes interpret it a little bit differently. Are we talking about the city that you live in or the community that you're creating within your gym?
Community we're creating in our gym.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. We had 6 people training in our facility this morning. You've trained at my facility.
I've trained at you. I know.
We had 6 people. 4 of them were all different ethnicities, races. One was 50, one was 60, one was 45, one was 40. Some were overweight, some were healthy and been with us for 6 years. My point is all different
walks of life.
Yeah. Okay. When those people come in, because our core value is community, you come in and it's your first day. Hey, Clarissa, I want you to meet Tom. Tom, this is Clarissa. It's our first day. Oh, hey, how are you, Clarissa? How are you?
Sounds like relationships.
That's community.
That's community.
Okay. And you would have never maybe talked with Tom had that introduction not happened.
Sure.
So because that's one of our core values, we constantly are training up our team to make sure that community is number 1.
Sure.
That's a good example of it.
Yeah.
We're constantly doing the community events to provide an atmosphere where people can connect and get to know each other.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes it a lot stickier as an organization, and people are just valued more and they want to see us more, which because we're personal trainers and we need to see you, the more we see you, we get to give you this vehicle to get healthy. So it all works.
Personal. It does. Okay.
Number 2, drive change.
All right. How are you driving change?
Oh, man. Even over the course of the last, so I've been part of Farmwell for, I want to say 7-8 years. I've owned it 100% for 3 years. We have changed our model 3 different times. And we constantly are driving change based on results and based on where the marketplace is so that our business can continue to be successful. So how I'm driving change right now is we recently, because of COVID in 2020, we've changed our facility. We have changed our facility and changed the products that we offered on our shelf. So we used to offer the boot camp cardio training like we talked about in the very beginning of this episode. We offered personal training. We offered open access to our gym. We had all these different layers of product we were offering, all different price points. And quite frankly, how we serviced each of those products was different because it was a different product on the shelf.
Sure.
Think of a boot camp where it's loud music and you're cheering them on and that's all that matters. People want to sweat and have loud music and lights and just be entertained compared to a personal training session, which someone wants a personal attention.
Right.
And they need help with their form. 2 different products on the shelf. Their service totally different.
Sure.
We were that 2-3 years ago. We're driving change by we found personal training to be the product that our team, the Farmwell team, did the best. We were the best in town at personal training. And then, holy smokes, our average age is 55. And then, holy smokes, COVID hits, nobody wants 40 people in a gym anymore.
Sure.
We've had up to 100 people in our facility at one point. At one time.
At one time.
At one time. When
And then
COVID hit,
came.
people wanted, like, dude, no more than 10 in here, right? Like, we need to be 600 feet apart, just a few people, whatever. And luckily, a year before, I already had that vision of just going personal training only because we saw such great results. People stayed with us for so much longer. The product was a little bit more costly. So think of it as $40 per hour instead of a boot camp class with 30 people that was $20 an hour. And the boot camp, they stayed with us for 10 months, where the personal trainers, they stayed with us for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
So you had a product on the shelf that was more money, better results, better lifetime value. I already naturally liked it better. I thought that our team was the best in town at it. I thought that our market was going all boot camp training through all these other boot camp brands, if you will. And I'd already seen it. COVID was the perfect time to say, can't do it because people don't want to be around each other.
Sure.
So we've had an excuse to finally change it, and people were so open to change. If we as a community, if like our Farmwell team didn't have the core value of drive change, we would have never made the change. So we drove that change. We knocked all those products off our shelf.
I love it.
It made us even more successful. And guess what? We have taken our facility down from like a 7,500 square foot facility. It was like this huge facility because we had 100 people in it once, down to a 3,500 square foot facility. So, and the experience was just as good, if not better, because now you have 6 people in a facility. Whereas when you have 6 people in this huge facility, it's kind of weird. Like you're on one side of the room. Sure, it was fine for like the 6 months there when COVID was at its height and we didn't know what was going to happen and we didn't know what was going to happen to the people. But now after those 6 months to a year, it just kind of got weird. That community feel, what we going back to, went away because you never talked to that person for an entire hour. So now we're building a facility that matches that product on the shelf. We will grand open that brand new facility in 6 weeks, by the way.
Oh.
6 weeks, and we have about 30 spots left available until Farmwell, we're at its peak. So we're maxing out at about 170, 180 people. So,
gosh, Cody Parks is leaping all over the place. Over a course of 3 years or, overall 10, you have made a lot of transitional and pivotal points in your business. And that just that aids to your success and to your wins. So this is good.
Well, back to the core values. Had they not been in place, these are like your...
Yeah, it drives who you are.
It drives who you are.
It drives your business.
It's like a compass. Where the heck am I going?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. At least once a month, I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Where am I going? Yeah. Go back to the drawing board. What were your core values? You have a lot of decisions to make. As long as they are around the core values, it's going to put you in a better position. It's going to put you in a position of who you are and where you want to go. Yeah,
that's going to continue to set you apart. That's your differentiator. And earlier you mentioned my next favorite word is niche. And you learn to niche down based off of your core values. And it always takes you back to the core and just drive. Mm-hmm. And it drives. This is some good stuff. Let me ask, how can my community, how can we support you?
Well, we do have 30 spots left.
Just 30. All right, y'all hear that?
Well, in all honesty, we have 30 spots left, but on a typical month, there's always some sort of churn. So we have 1 or 2 people drop off each month. So there's always going to be, once we get to 30, my goal is in the next 6 weeks when we open the next spot that we're at max capacity. But every month we'll have 1 or 2 spots available for people in the community. So if you are an adult over 40 and you need help with your health and fitness and you want to look good and you want to feel good, but you also want a professional personal trainer and you want a fun atmosphere that would value community, then please check us out, farmwell.com. Come do that complimentary free discovery day and let us change your life. I'm telling you, it will absolutely change your life. So that's number one, how you can help me. As a business owner. That's how you can help me.
All right, we're going to drop some people there. All right.
But, your listeners, how you can help me is figure out what your God-given talent is. Yeah. And I want you to go out there and I want you to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to just be a personal trainer because I'm a personal trainer. No. What I love about our business is that we have like all these rock stars in their own industry. I can see somebody working out. Literally, I've seen people working out at 7 a.m. and at 9 a.m. they're on TV. Wow. Like they're like the biggest rock star lawyer in Atlanta and they're on TV and they're doing an interview and I'm like, this makes my heart sing. Like I get to see him do what he loves doing, what he's called to do at the highest capacity possible. So how you can help me is by helping yourself and helping the community and absolutely knowing who you are as an individual, what your God-given talents are, and go out there and do it with excellence and do it the best that you can do. And that's really how you're going to help me ultimately. is just providing a better community for the Atlanta area in all areas.
All areas. Like we're worldwide. We hear you all over the
there
place,
you go.
Cody.
There you go. But that's,
Also, what type of books are you reading? Are you listening to any books, any podcasts that keep you motivated, keep that energy going? Anything that you recommend for the listeners to read?
Yeah, currently I'm reading a lot of business books now because, again, that season of life, I'm 33. I've owned the business for 3 years now, 100%. So I still have a lot of learning to do in terms of like that CEO role, like financial role. We always have to be learning and growing. And if my organization's going to grow, I have to grow. It's back to the law of the lid. If the leader's not growing, it's just from the top down. So I'm reading a lot of business books. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I would recommend my personal favorite was Dave Ramsey's Entree Leadership. Again, that's Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey. Holy smokes. And I know Dave Ramsey's a big financial guy, but this book has nothing to do with financials. It's all about how to run a company. So how to be an entree leader, entrepreneur plus a leader. And it is absolutely amazing book. And that I read for the first time when I was 20. It really, struck a vision. And I have read it at least a dozen times since then. And every single 20, 22, 25, 26, 30, 33. Every time I read it, I get something different out of it. So that book, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be some sort of leader in your community, I would start with that book.
All right.
There's tons out there. I see the one, Good to Great, on your shelf right now. I loved that book. There was a lot of really good nuggets out of that book.
Yeah.
That was great. Figure out who you are. There's so many podcasts. We're in the information age. You can Google it. You can go to podcast. If anything, spend 30 minutes a day listening to podcasts or reading books.
Yeah, listen to Spark Stories.
Something. Spark Stories, something. Holy smoke. Just get
that shameless plug, plug.
If you take one thing, if you listen to a podcast or if you listen to this podcast and it's a 30-minute podcast and you got one thing out of it that helped you and you actually implement it, it's worth it.
It's absolutely.
And you do that every day and you start stacking these things. You start stacking them. Before you know it, it's been 2 years and every day you've implemented this new positive thing that you've just learned. And holy smokes, now look at where you're at.
Yep. Well, you know what? How can we find you? Are you on Facebook, Twitter? Where are you hanging out on social media?
So it's this crazy tagline named Cody Ray Parks.
Cody Ray.
No, I'm not a huge social media mogul with thousands of followers, but you can find me Cody Ray Parks on Instagram. You can type in Cody Parks on Facebook and you'll see myself. And I do a lot of fitness related things. So I always post one recipe every single week that you can actually cook. That's going to be a healthy recipe. I try and do a different exercise of the week to teach you new exercise, inspiring quotes, healthy living principles, exercise principles, and nutrition principles that will help you become a healthier individual. And if you're looking for anything that's going to help you become healthier, then it'd be a good page to follow. If you're interested in our company, which again is not just me, and our team is actually even better than me, go to farmwell.com. Farmwell.com, super simple, and book that free discovery day. That way we can come in, you'll meet with the team, I'll meet you there, I'll be there, and we can sit down, talk about your goals. You can meet the team, see the facility for yourself that we're talking about, especially if you're in this area. It is a huge, huge fit.
Shout out to James.
Shout out to James. Shout out to Halston.
Yeah.
And we've had so many great people that have come through the organization, and I am happy to say that when people leave, it's usually like they made an awesome connection inside of our facility with our community, and it's like sprung them into something else that they were more passionate about. And so it's just an awesome culture all around.
All right. Well, Cody, thanks for sharing who you are, what you do, and why your brand really matters. Here at Spark Talk, we do like to just celebrate our local business owners, and we want to celebrate you today and every day. Thank you. So again, listeners, please support Cody. Go out to his Facebook page or at Cody Ray Parks or Farmwell to find out and sign up for those sessions. Again, thank you. I want everyone to create a great day. That's a wrap, folks.
Thank you for listening to Spark Stories. If you're looking for more help in gaining focus, come check out our website where you can find episode show notes, Browse our archives and access free resources like worksheets, trainings, events, and more. It's all at www.shesparks.com.